Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Daily Life Hero. Hi, my name is Rachna Khanna. I'm your host. I am so excited today for my guest. She's phenomenal. When I met her, I did not know what a beautiful, heartwarming story that she has to share with the world. She is such a beautiful soul that she just wants to deliver a message which is so heartwarming, and she wants to tell you that she got you because she has so much love in her heart and so much strength and power in her heart that she wants to share. Anybody listening over here, watch out. This episode is going to blow your mind because she is extraordinary. I want you to welcome and put your hands together to welcome my extraordinary guest who has touched lives of countless women around the globe. She is the brilliant mind behind the best selling book, Never Underestimate a Woman. The sequel, part one, part two, did you know that they have been super hit? Yes, they have been considered and told they are the best selling for the year 2023 and 2024. In a specific chapter where she speaks is a powerful testament to resilience against domestic violence, inspiring strength and healing. And what else? She is absolutely an esteemed winner of the Global Women's Influence Award held in Singapore, a testament to her unwavering dedication, uplifting women in challenging circumstances. Her story is one of the heartwarming determination of compassion and a true beacon of hope. In addition to running transformative retreats, which is on our website, which we will share in our podcast, she graces and she co-hosts two Web 5, that is a radio show, which happens every Wednesday. If you want to catch her and wants to hear her inspiring stories, she does it. And she does it absolutely as a volunteer, advocating what is important. She brings so much comfort and empowerment to women facing domestic violence globally. Join me in celebrating the impactful journey. Let's embrace her. Let's embrace her story, her insights that remind us the power and the strength within every. Without further ado, let's welcome our guest, Heather. Woohoo!
Hello.
You're here.
Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Oh, Heather, I have so much love for you in this moment, and I cannot wait for our conversation to start so that our listener just are in awe with you that you have so much to offer as grace. So thank you for saying yes, and thank you for inspiring and being a daily life.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I know you're such a gentle soul. And I remember our training together where you brought yourself just a simple person who is there to know herself more at a different level. Tell us who you are. Tell us your story. Tell us what makes you who you are today and what inspired you to share your story.
I believe coming from a tough background, I grew up in a remote area in Western New South Wales on a farm, and we didn't have the support that we do nowadays. We didn't even have proper electricity. So my mum did it really tough. I'm the youngest of 7 children. And yeah, my father was really abusive. So children were to be seen and not heard. And my mum tolerated that shocking treatment for 25 years, finally getting the courage when the older children went off to uni and left home. She finally got the courage to leave, and she was terrified of my father. So she put the two youngest into a school hostel, me being one of them. We were homeschooled prior to high school. And yeah, and she moved to Sydney, 800 kilometers away. So it was a tough upbringing. So, and I, yeah, went through life not having much self-love, struggled at school, left school, couldn't even read very well. Yeah, and went into the workforce, settled in a young relationship. I was 16 and settled into a really serious relationship. And anyway, after a long, tough journey, there was good parts too. Yeah, I ended up in a coercive control relationship myself for 27 years, and I finally, yeah, got the courage to get out of that one. And at that point, I had both of my children were young. I had my son was 4 and my daughter was 7, and I just needed to find another way. I thought there's got to be a better way because didn't want this repeated pattern to keep happening for my children to think that this was okay.
Mm.
And yeah, and anyway, so I don't want to spoil my books. I'd like your listeners to certainly purchase Never Underestimate a Woman, Part 1 and Part 2, where I share, of course, my full story. And yeah, and after a very long battle, and I managed to save the kids home. Right at the end of that, I just thought there's got to be a better way. There has to be a better life. And I went searching. I found some amazing inspirational people, Bob Proctor, Louise Hay, Susan Jeffers, lots of people like that, and thought of there's got to be somebody I can study with in Australia. So then I stumbled onto the Coaching Institute. It was then now known as the International Coaching Institute. And it's been an amazing journey. Yay.
Oh my Heather, can I just take a moment of what you've just told us is so deep. And I come from a culture where I have grown up in an environment which was so unfriendly and self love was never taught. I'm not saying it was their fault. I get it. They did the best they could. But listening to you deeply resonates with me in this point of time. And looking at the journey and the transition that you just mentioned, how you grew up, which was so difficult, and then you going into your own life starting, and again, it was so difficult, and you changing the narrative. That is such a big, big, and brave step. And if I hear you correctly, you said there is something more than you. There is something that was waiting for you to just go beyond. And in your book that you mentioned, I want to know what was that moment of truth in your life so that it helps our listeners also. What was that moment you said, no, this is enough. I'm not going for this. And that
That,
changed the trip.
yeah, yeah, that moment, I think, I believe that it was, you know, uh, for starters, I wanted to change the trajectory of, women having to flee difficult situations, and because my mother had, left. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. There's no way. I've got to change this. I don't want my children growing up to believe this is okay. So why should we have to move from home to home and flee our home? That's not fair. So many women have to do that. So, I dug my toes in there and really fought to save my kids home. And it was a massive battle. And I came out the other side after 24 court hearings in the family court in Parramatta in Sydney. It was huge over almost 4 years, and then the self-belief and self-worth. Well, that was the personal development journey that I then delved into,
Mm.
and it's just turned my life around. I just want to encourage as many people as possible, men, women, children, whoever, to that life can be so much better if we, in coaching terms, we'd say above the line thinking. So if we drop the below the line, the negative thinking, and tragic things happen, and yes, we learn to deal with those, and we have to deal
Mm.
with those, but just focusing on the better and the good, and things like gratitude. When I discovered gratitude, we practice gratitude every night at dinner. We don't have a dinner without everybody at the table has to say what they're grateful for that day. It's just beautiful because it's teaching us to appreciate what we already have. So things like that, it's simple, it's effective, and it just makes you feel so much better. Yay.
Oh my God. In just that spiel you have mentioned so much. And it goes to shows your grace, Heather. Because when you said that There has to be something. I don't want my children to grow thinking that this is normal. And you change the narrative of being normal because
Yes.
that wasn't normal. And standing up for yourself in spite of the fact, despite that you did not know what self-love or self-care would look like, you stood up because you knew that there is something more to it. And I think that moment when you realized, it's such a big and very courageous moment. No, it stops with me. And I know there is so much more that I could do it for my kids. What a beautiful gift that you have given it to your kids. And then second most important thing is that gratitude in day-to-day life, that we often forget that there are so many things which are good in our life and we can appreciate. Like we have food, we have bed, we have sun, we have air to breathe in. And I loved it how, in such a simplistic manner, you just put it, such a humble way of sharing it. And you know what, just be grateful, just appreciate what you have in your life. These two things, oh my God, Heather, you just said
Thank
it in
you.
such a manner.
Yeah,
It
thank you.
matters. It matters. So thank you for
It
saying that
really
and reigniting that faith that being grateful takes you at a very high level.
It does. It takes you to a higher level. It really does. Like in, we can't, if we're in a ugly relationship and we realize that we cannot change the other person, leopards don't generally change their spots unless unless they want to. We have to want the change ourselves. We can't enforce that on anyone else. So if you know that that your person that you're with is not going to change, that you have tried absolutely everything, then yeah, to be grateful that you have the choice to get out of that relationship. So think about your gratitudes from a different angle and go, okay, well, I have got the choice. It is up to me. No one's going to turn up and rescue me. I have to do it myself. So I realized that, and I had to make that big move. And another thing I'll say is love. Love is all we take with us at the end of the day. And when I was trying to choose a logo, I was like, what am I going to choose for a logo? And when I went to that school hostel when I was 12 years old, there was an Aboriginal girl that got sent there from I don't know, Docs or someone had put her and her brother in there, and in any case, yeah, she was quite a tattoo artist. She knew how to draw on a picture on your hand or wherever you wanted the tattoo, and then wrap the cotton around it, dip it in the ink, and punch it on. So I decided that I want love. I needed love way back then when I was so young, So I got a little love heart tattooed on the back of my hand. And I'm like, what am I going to choose for a logo? And I went, oh, wow. Oh, I've had it here all this time. Of course it's going to
Wow.
be a love heart. We need more love in the world. So that is my logo, and I've created the love heart letterbox. I'm going to put in a love heart pool down at the retreat for the artesian water. I've got love hearts everywhere. I do a lot of crafty stuff, so I've got all these lovely love hearts cut out of old scrap metal and stuff. Yeah, because we just need to be reminded that love is all we take with us at the end of the day, the love for each other and our loved ones.
Oh, this is so beautiful, Heather. And I love that you mentioned that from being grateful to a choice, what are you choosing? And then choose you, choose love.
Mm,
And a beautiful way of putting it across that I want to remind myself I'm love and have that tattoo of heart, that we are all love, we come from love and we are love. And in the world, despite the fact that we are love, people still want to be told that they are love. And so much
exactly.
power in that, so much power in that. I love
There
it.
is. Yeah, there
Yeah.
really is. And the older generation never spoke about love. It was difficult for them. I know my mother's 95, bless her, and when she came to visit a couple of years ago, I'd already done the letterbox and the sign, it's a big love heart, and so's the sign saying Lower Retreat, and I said, "What do you think of my letterbox and my sign, Mum?" And she goes, "Oh, it's different," you know, because they were just words you didn't use. It's like
Yeah.
we need to know we are love and we are loved. It's so important. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, you have touched such a delicate moment right now because I remember all I wanted, all I kept telling in my head when my healing journey was on, that love was not a problem. I wanted to feel safe. And when I go back and said, no, love was the only thing that I ever wanted, and I would have felt safe. Because
Of course.
the generation I come from, I did not see that parents telling their kids, I love you and you matter and who you are is enough. And I grew up with a different mindset. I'm not enough. I have to prove myself. I will only be loved if I do something for others. And
Exactly.
that's
And
exactly what you touched upon, that
yeah,
you create your own love.
of course
And
we do. Yeah. And then we're not searching for emptiness, we don't know. Because of, I believe, now you've shared that about yourself, our conditioning as children, we're out there searching for something we didn't receive as a kid. There's so many people that are so lost, where if we are taught love and that we are love and we've got all that we need within us, then our lives can be so fulfilling and so much better.
that's so beautiful, David. Thank you for sharing. I'm curious now and I'm wondering, you mentioned that you are an inspiration and you have won a global award in the stream that you reach out to people, people reach out to you so that you help them, that they don't have to do what they have been doing. Tell us something about your work, what you've been doing, how are you helping people? Tell us about your work.
Well, for me, I didn't really know who to turn to. I still live in an isolated area, but I choose for it not to be isolated now that we can do Zoom and all these amazing things. And of course, I have my social day in town when I do my broadcasting, on the radio, so co-hosting. So, but I lived in an isolated area, and I thought, I didn't have anybody to turn to. I didn't know who to turn to. Yes, my family, but sadly, your family just tell you you'll be all right, it'll be all okay. And some families are probably a little bit more helpful. Mine did their best with what they could. And I just went, well, I want to be able to help women. I want to be the person to turn to because I've gone through all of this. I've had the experience. So therefore, I've got the knowledge to help to point them in the right direction. And with the coaching, then of course also getting them in the right mindset, so that they can see from a different perspective, from a different angle, and then change their own lives themselves. So that is so important to me because I didn't know who to turn to myself. As I said, I want to be the person for them to turn to. And being on the radio has certainly done that. I've had a couple of women starting to reach out now that they know that I exist. And also, yeah, of course, with my website and the women's events that I speak at as well. Yeah, which is, been great as well. It's just so rewarding to help and inspire others. So that's certainly my mission, is to inspire 100,000 women. Yeah. In the
Oh,
next 10,
wow.
10 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is beautiful and that is lovely. And I love the fact that your website has been built and you're talking about retreats where people can come and just be, and you take them through a different journey. And of course, they can visit your website and log it wherever you're ready for the next retreat and they are welcome.
Yes.
And
Of course.
so what does the retreat look like? What is it that you offer to our people?
Well, a variety of retreats. I actually do a lot of the hosting of them. So I've got a writing retreat coming up, and I've got another professional writer who is a world-renowned speaker and traveller. Kerry Phipps is her name, and she's coming to do that one because she's run writing retreats in other countries as well. So I've got her coming to assist with that one, and I'll be mostly hosting that, but I will speak at some of it as well. Just because I'm autobiography with my books, true story. So, if anybody's wanting to journal in any other form, or write blogs or fiction, and I've got her assistance there too, how to go about that. And the other retreats, I've got another couple that are booked in this year, and it's meditation, a lovely local lady that does meditation, and she's bringing a friend that does some yoga as well. So that'll be wonderful, just to offer a variety of things. So I've just got such a beautiful space here, and I just don't know what it is about this red dirt in the outback, but it's just the healing energy. It's absolutely beautiful. And the retreats that I have run here, that's people go away saying that, oh my gosh, I don't know what it was, but I just feel so good. I feel like I've, healed within, and
Mm.
I believe it's the environment. It's a good, clean energy out here. There is no pollution. There's no noise. A few birds
Mm.
flying over. That's about it on this occasion. But I am in a remote area, but it's a beautiful way to see the outback as well as come and heal yourself as well in so many ways and connect with like-minded people. Of course, retreats are just so good for anybody. Yeah.
Yeah. As you were mentioning, this is what you offer. I was there with you. The way you mentioned it, that it is the environment that makes such a huge difference. And if you're able to provide that kind of an environment, people don't survive, people thrive.
Yes.
And yet again, you have emphasized on the fact that everybody is loved. All they need is the right environment and they feel the love. And that's the most obvious answer I think I get to hear, even when people are with me or we are doing some conversations. Is that I do not know what it was, but it was mind blowing. And it has shaped something within, which is exactly what you mentioned, that people feel different. People feel, what is going on? How does it feel so different? And I love the fact that you offer variety, something to do with writing, speaking, meditation, yoga, because there is always something that people deeply resonates. And I love the
Yes.
fact that you're catering that from the place of love. I am loving this conversation so much.
No,
What
thank you.
has, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, and also, that was what inspired me to start the retreat. And I've got these 4 beautiful cabins on the edge of the river here in the peace and serenity of the outback, as I said, and I've got a great big community kitchen we put up last year as well. So there's a lot of space there to hold the events in. And I just went, we're 5 hours from Dubbo, our biggest centre west. So there is nothing, if anybody out this way or any, yeah, especially women, country women, they just cannot afford to leave their homes for that long or travel that far because they've got to go to the coast somewhere to go to a retreat or another country, perhaps the Blue Mountains, but it's still a really long way away from home. So, they can take a weekend out and come and have some self-care, and they're not so far away from home. And as far as women coming from the cities as well, well, it's a great way to see our own country, yeah, and treat themselves to a time to self care in the outback where they've probably not been before, or yeah,
Mhm.
about to explore and meet people from their own land,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, that they
yeah.
can connect with and see again.
Mhm. That is such a gorgeous offer, Heather. I'm sure our listeners, if they're in Sydney or any part of the Australia, they would love to explore it and then come. Not traveling to any other country, but traveling to home, which makes me feel that yes, I matter and I am loved no matter
Mm.
what. I
Yes,
love that.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I was wondering, what are the daily rituals look like for you? What is it that is a non-negotiable for you when it comes to your daily self-care or love bombing?
Sorry, I think I understood that question. What does my day look like as far as self-care?
Daily ritual when it comes to
Daily ritual.
self-love
Yeah.
and self-care. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Always a small meditation. I always make sure that, I start my day with just a little meditation, just close my eyes, focus on my third eye and just breathe, remember my breathing and just allow everything to be. I think it's really important. It doesn't need to be long, as long as I just get those couple of moments to myself in the quiet of the morning to begin my day. I am fairly structured. I like early mornings. That's how I managed to achieve so much. So that is my time out. I escape to my little office space here and I write or I do my bills and do whatever I need to. Then I fit in if I've got somebody to coach or, that um, webinar or anything booked or Zoom calls with anybody, then I'll fit that in. Usually of a morning because that's when I can give 100%. That's when
Yeah.
I'm the most switched on and focused. Then I go about my daily farm life and do whatever I need to on the farm here. And in the cooler months is when we have the guest and the retreats. So that's when it's quite busy and the tourists usually start to arrive. We do um, caravans as well. So we've got people coming to stay after lunch generally when they turn up. And we do farm tours. My partner takes people on farm tours and that on the farm.
Wow.
So it's quite a busy day. We will start catering for events this year. We've been saying we're going to, so we will be doing that. And that's always lovely too. And even with the guest, the conversations, it's just beautiful to share a little bit of time. Time is our most precious thing that we have. But if we can just donate that little bit of time to hear other people's stories, it's just lovely and it makes people feel even more welcome. So that's generally my day. And as I said, we at the dinner time we do our and have our bath and go to bed. That's us.
Well, I love it. I love it. I only ask for a ritual that is, I think that's pretty much it, that your daily ritual looks like. That, and
Yes.
I love the fact that you prime your mind. You start with the meditation and you prime your mind, which I think our listeners will love it because most people don't know what is priming your mind. It's basically just sitting with you and write. What are the things that you want to achieve today, and what are the things look like if there is something that you need to put action on it. And I love
Yeah.
it how you mentioned I'm pretty structured, and if I'm a morning person and morning things, then you will have my 100%. And that's exactly what priming is because you're in your highest action mode. And if you're able to do it, you are ready for your day,
Yeah.
energetic, and you loved. And I loved how you touched upon the connection. If people are there, how you build connection because everybody wants to be helped in some shape or manner. And you give that connection to that person. That's so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah, and,
you.
I, and and I'm a lifelong learner as well, so that I've got new tools and resources coming on board all the time. I fit in the studies whenever I can, and also download podcast. I listen to podcast while I'm in the paddock working. You don't need an excuse to make time to listen, and so I've got the headset on all the time. I listen to books as well, audio books. So we can always make time to fit these things in. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have the
Yeah.
same 24 hours. It's just how we utilize it that counts.
Exactly right. We all have the same 24 hours. What is it that you're doing to make it work for you? That's the best thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. Any other last thoughts that you like to share, Heather? Anything that you do, any work that you're really passionate that listeners can find you and listeners can say, yeah, if Heather can do it, I can do it too. Any last words that you like to share with the audience or listeners?
Yeah. Thanks, Rachna. I conquered so many things, and I've certainly written about those in my books that women wouldn't normally do. I had to, because I managed this huge farm by myself, and you just can't call somebody up. I'm in 1 hour from the closest town. So I learned to do so many things. So really, if you are um, patient with yourself and just, determined, you can achieve whatever you want. You really can. Yeah. And don't beat yourself up if you don't get it right the first time. A baby didn't learn to walk when it first stood up. Just keep trying. You will get there and tell yourself what you want to hear, not what you don't. People are really good at telling themselves how bad they are at something. Start to tell yourself that I'm going to get this. I'm going to nail it. Yeah, positive stuff. It's amazing. You start to tell yourself good stuff. You will start to fascinate yourself with what you can achieve. And please read my books because you'll say if that woman can do all of that, I'm sure I can have a crack. I can have a go.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Heather, because what you have just ignited that, this has so much power that we have so much habit of talking to ourselves in such a bad way. How about we just twist it? Just say the good things to us and see the magic happen, see the transformation happens. The life is very different on the other angle, because the moment you start the other way around and saying life is good, life is good. And when you said, if this woman can do it, I see all women in you. I see me in you, because you make it so relatable. You make it so genuine in the effort that it is possible. Thank you
It
so much.
absolutely is. Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Rachna. And I just really looking forward to, hearing women's feedback in the future. That excites me. That really, motivates me. Go, wow, this is so worth it. It's so worth putting our voice out there to help and inspire others to move forward in their lives. We only get one life that we remember anyway. So it's important. Every day is important. Yeah.
Yes. Every day is important and every
Yes.
day counts. And
Yes.
this is the life that we get to see with our own eyes. Make it count. And I love that. Thank you so much for joining Daily Life Hero. You are truly a daily life hero. Thank you for touching, moving, and inspiring our listeners. Our goal is to
So
touch
welcome.
1 million people by 2030. Thank you so much for your contribution. And I can't wait you exploring your wings and going newer heights with your retreats, with your books, with everything that you have planned with your farm life. All the best. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you.
To my listeners, thank you so much for joining us. Today was phenomenal. Today was exceptionally, truly, truly humbling to see. There is so much more that we can. I wish all of you all the best, and keep an eye on the retreats on the website that Heather has to share. You never know. That's the thing that you've been looking for. All the best, and look after yourself, self love, and self care.